You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. I hope you're having a great weekend. Whenever you're listening to this, I hope you're subscribed. And if this is your first episode because you're a Maggie Lawson fan, which we all are, I hope you'll subscribe and listen every week because we've got a lot of great guests coming up and have had a lot of great guests. And we really get into it. We talk about life and anxiety and stress and work and just real stuff. We don't bullshit too much here. We have fun, but we don't bullshit too much. And I have a new segment. We have a new segment here on the show called How You Doing? How you doing? It's a mental health segment. Just how you doing? It's just how you freaking doing? How are you guys doing out there? Have you had a stressful week? Are you worried about something? Are you not being good to yourself? What is it? Ryan, how are you doing?
How am I doing?
How you doing?
We recorded a lot this week, so that was fun, but at the same time I had to go home and do my other work.
Right.
So it has been a little bit stressful.
Right, that's true. But we do have weeks off where we don't do anything really. Well,
we had a
intros.
lot of weeks off.
We did. I didn't do podcasts for a while because we had a lot, what they call it, in the can.
In the can.
But you're saying it was stressful. All of a sudden there's 5, you're here every day, or we're doing all these podcasts. You got to get them uploaded. Mm-hmm. So it is stress. And it's stress for me too, because I hadn't done them in a while. So I was like, oh shit, do I still have it? It's like not acting in a while. And then you just go, can I still act? And I found out that I could still do it. We had some really great interviews, and I've been a little stressed. I've been, worried about things, and but I try to, and I think to myself, why are you feeling this way? Well, you haven't really exercised this week. Oh, go figure. You're drinking, you're eating like shit. Oh, what's so there's reasons behind everything. And so for me, I'm just like trying to get back on track, trying to eat better, trying to stay off the sodas, staying off the Carvel ice cream sandwich, flying saucers.
Oh my God, what are you, 10? Got to stay off the pop of the ice cream.
That's a trick question, my friend. But how are you doing, guys? I hope you're doing well out there. I hope you're hanging in there. I know we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel here with the pandemic, and I hope you guys are being responsible and good to yourselves and loving yourselves. So that's how you doing. So we just checked in with me and Ryan and checking in with you. We're also going to check in eventually with the guests, even though this was pre-recorded. So we can't do that.
It's a new segment.
If you want to subscribe to the podcast, it's easy. You just go to the on YouTube, Ryan.
YouTube.com/Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Baum.
That's correct. And you can go on Apple, you can go on Spotify, Stitcher. Mm-hmm. What else? There's all sorts of things. Apple.
Yeah.
You can listen to the show, watch it on YouTube. I think you'll enjoy it if you watch it on YouTube, and spread the word. We really encourage you to spread the word. The handles on Instagram are at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and at Inside of You Pod on the Twitter. You could also go to the merch store, the Inside of You online store, and you can get not only Inside of You mugs, autograph mugs, hats, but you can get Smallville stuff. You can get a Smallville lunchbox. I think I have some Funko Pop Lex Luthor's left. Some Lex Luthor pictures, just a bunch of stuff. It's a fun little site, Inside of You online store. And if you'd like anything from the band, my band Sunspin, go to sunspin.com and you could buy shirts, hats. You can get Zooms with me and Rob. You could book the band. You could do all that stuff. But we got a lot of great merch, and you could do that. This guest, Maggie, is such a sweetheart. And I talked to her co-stars from Psych, and they adored her. So I always wanted to get her on the podcast. And she's not like me, where she just is an open book. She likes to kind of keep things close to the vest. And so I get it. I understand it. But she did open up. She talked about her divorce. She talked about life. She talked about Psych. She talked about a lot of things. And it was really interesting. And she's a very likable person, wouldn't you say?
I would agree.
I mean, I thought this girl's marriage material. That's what I was thinking. Sometimes my guess, I'm like, wow, this girl's awesome. This woman is awesome. Not this girl. This woman is awesome. She is. She's really great. What did you find most interesting about her?
I mean, she's just super nice, and it was nice for her to open up about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I like when people open up. You know how I like that.
Yeah.
Let's just get right into it. Oh, by the way, before we get into it, make sure you join Patreon. Patreon.com/Inside of You. I'll write you a message. It's a great big family. If you want to help the podcast in other ways, if you're really digging it, you want to get to the podcast, fine. If you just don't, that's fine too. But Patreon, Patreon.com/Inside of You. And let's get inside of Maggie Lawson. It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. Okay, first of all,
Hi.
Maggie Lawson. Margaret,
that is my...
Marge?
Margaret Cassidy Lawson. Did you say Marge?
Have you ever heard Marge?
Yeah, but I've never been called that.
Do you remember in Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he says, "Tell him the large Marge sent you"? You never got that shit in high school?
Never got that shit in high school.
Thank God. That would be terrible.
No. I always said if like I became a doctor, a lawyer or something, I might go by like Dr. Margaret. But
Dr. Margaret Lawson. You know, I want to congratulate you. I've never done a pre-interview before. And you're the first.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to do a pre-interview.
Yeah, sometimes you got to just...
Look, I get, thank you, by the way, for doing that. Just because I get, I get a lot of anxiety talking about myself. You can probably already sense it. So. Well,
that's probably good in a way because you're not so self-involved, maybe. Is that true?
I don't know. I think I'm just painfully private.
Really? Until today.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm very social and I like being out. I like being with people and I like sharing, but I'm also very, 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 very private.
Were your folks private?
You know, yes and no. I mean, I think in our family, actually, no, when I think about it, there was a lot of like very open talking, very open feeling talking. So I'm not really sure where it comes from. It's really interesting. Like it's something that has sort of developed later. Because when I was younger, I was such a, like, I was doing musical theater, I was singing, I was dancing, I was acting. I was like, you know, I was pretty out there. But as I got older, I don't know. I've been working on this. It's like I'm really comfortable when I have lines and a character to play, but I get really uncomfortable if I'm just not uncomfortable. It's probably not the right word, but I just get really anxious when I just have to.
That's normal. I think a lot of people get like that. You said something a minute ago. You said there was a lot of open feelings in your family. What does that mean, open feelings? It was like, I love you, Margaret. I love you too, Mom. What was that?
No, but I guess what I'm trying to say, like there really wasn't like a moment or a thing. You know, I remember when I say open feelings, I just feel like all topics were sort of up for discussion. Like there was nothing off limits. So my mom was always so great about that. Like she was I could literally come home from school and ask her a question about anything.
Sex?
I could literally walk in the door and be like, hey, I heard this word orgasm today. What is that? And she would do her best to sort of scientifically explain what that is in a way that I, at 9 years old or 8 years old or whatever, could understand.
How would she do it? How would she put that? I remember in health class, we had health class in 7th grade and you had to take it. And I didn't know what was going on. In fact, I didn't get laid till many, many moons later. And I remember that my mom asked me something. Now, my parents had a different way of raising their children. They would humiliate them. Oh. My mom was like, what did you learn in health? It's like, I know what's going on. And they're like, what do you mean? I go, sex. And she's like, what about it? I'm like, a man and a woman, they have sex and the guy has an organism. And she goes, and she started laughing at me and I ran upstairs and I heard her friend telling her friends, organism. He said, organism. Isn't that the cutest?
Oh, that's so.
But it was very private. It was very private in my family. Like I never saw my dad. I never saw my mom naked or my dad. I saw my mom's boobs once by accident, but I never, you know, everything was private. It was really weird. One time I saw my dad's balls and it was like, it ruined me. And he got,
that would be a bit sorry.
Well, he got upset. He was like, I remember we're sitting there watching TV and I just turned and he was wearing these little blue shorts because he went swimming. And I just go, yeah. I go, Dad, I think your ball's hanging out of your pants. He goes, what the? You're a pig. Get out of here. Get out of the room. Go upstairs to your room. Like, what? I'm in trouble because your balls are hanging out of your shorts? But that's what I remember. So my family was different.
Shut down. Yeah.
But your family, you could talk about orgasms. You could talk about anything with your mother, not so much your father.
Well, yeah, I think my mom sort of took the lead on most of that stuff. Yeah, for sure. She was like, it's interesting. We weren't like a super affectionate family. Like, it wasn't in a way of like physical touch or a lot of I love yous or any of that. But there was this like openness about what could be put on the table and up for discussion, which I have friends now who have kids, and they'll call and they'll be like, oh my God, like he's asking me about sex, or he's asking me. I'm like, I don't know if this is the right way, but I know I greatly appreciated it. It's like, just be direct and as honest as you can be. My mom, I don't know, she probably said, it's a really excited feeling and something happens. But it was never like talking down to or being condescending. It was always like, just on the level, you can handle it, trusting me with the information. And so it created like that's what I think I mean in like this sort of sense of openness. Like, my mom was so good about like not being shocked at a question or something, like great in a crisis.
Wow. Now, was she like very protective in high school, like teaching you about sex and saying, hey, I don't want you having sex? Or was she like, it wasn't a religious family, they were more like open, like they knew you were going to have sex, use a condom, sweetheart?
No, it wasn't necessarily like that. I have two brothers, and it was a bit, I think and by the time I was in high school, my parents were divorced, and I think she really tried to protect me even more so than my brothers. Like, they could get away with a lot more. And yes, I think more of I won't say it was it was more like expected, like whether it was getting in trouble or like, I was such a responsible mom, like figure in high school.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I was always the designated driver, or and so for me, what I wanted to, like, I'd already started acting. I already kind of knew what I wanted to do. So for me, the idea of like possibly having something come up, such as, my mom was just great at putting all the risks on the table around sex. So it scared the shit out of me, to the point where it's like, I cannot mess this train. I can't mess up this train I'm on right now. So, and that was all sort of like career driven, even in high school. So she knew exactly what to say to scare the living shit out of me into never doing that.
She mentioned the herp.
I did. Yeah. So it wasn't really anything that was like a possibility. I know she would have been great if something had happened, or if all that, but like, no, I think it was just sort of, that's off limits. If I want to go do this, that risk can't be at play.
So you were a good girl. You were the one, the designated driver. Were you a cheerleader in high school? You're popular?
No, I mean, I was not a cheerleader. No, I was already doing plays and sort of, it's really interesting. I came out to LA my sophomore year of high school.
What?
Yeah. So it's so wild.
Wait a minute. Wait. As a sophomore in high school, I mean, I didn't even start puberty till late, like probably 14 or 15 years old. I'm so immature as a 48-year-old dude that if I go back to then, it was a timing thing. I think everything kind of fit. Like I didn't become really successful till, I was in my mid 20s, which was even early for me. I was very immature. So I can't imagine being a sophomore in high school, coming out from Louisville, Kentucky, and starting an acting career. So your parents both approved of your acting, and your mom took you out?
Yeah, it's such a wild story.
Tell me the wildest story.
The wildest story. Well, it went back years, actually, to when I was like, I think I was 12. Do you remember showcases? Do you remember these showcases that used to happen? Yep. Yeah. There was one that happened in Louisville, and I went and I met, these showcases were these weird things I think you paid to go to. And there would be like agents from Hollywood, maybe casting directors, producers, or whatever. So you got this opportunity to go to this seminar and learn about LA and Hollywood, and maybe read a scene, and they'd give you feedback on whether or not you like have it. So
right.
I'm 12. I don't know any better. I've been doing plays for a few years. And I did this, I hosted a little show, but we'll get into that. That's another thing. But I hosted this little show on a Fox station in Kentucky, and everybody was like, "Oh, you should go to this seminar and see what they say, or whatever, if there's a chance to become a star." So I go to the seminar, I read the scenes. I'm 12 years old. I'm like, okay, this is fine. And I get like a lot of feedback from these people. This guy gives me his card. I'll get to him in a second. I don't think anything of it. My mom and I, we have this discussion. And now keep in mind, we don't have like money. This is not a situation where it was like, sure, we can go to New York and see about a career there. That's actually the first place we went, but or LA. This was like, it felt impossible, but these things kind of popped up that made us talk about it. So I get this card. I have this real discussion with my mom and dad, and it's like, no, man, I'm a kid and I want to be a kid and I don't want to do that. And I like my life here in Kentucky and I like my plays and what I'm doing. And so we just dropped it. And a couple of years later, I'm doing a play, and the director of the play was this guy, John Huffman, who had done a lot of work in LA. Like I knew he went back and forth and he had a lot of like connections. Great director and was a great friend. And I tell him this story about this showcase I went to a few years prior. And I tell him about this guy who gave me his card. And I'm like, he's like, do you know, I said it was an agent. And he's like, do you know who the agent was? And I said, yeah, I think. And I get the card. I'll never forget. My mom kept the card for years in her metallic gold cigarette holder. And it was like, it had this like clear little thing on it. And it always, I don't know why, she just kept it for safekeeping. I don't know why we even kept this card.
Well, probably because at that point, it was a moment where my daughter's talented and this agent gave her his card. And it was a moment. She didn't know that you'd be as successful as you were. So maybe she kept it around. It was one of the first mementos or whatever.
So John looks at the card and he's like, do you know who this is? I'm like, no. And he's like, this is like one of the biggest agents, this guy, Jeff Witches, who still, I believe, is an agent at William Morris. And he loses his mind. I have no idea what any of this means. And he's like, you should call him. He's like, you should call him. If an agent from William Morris gives you his card, you should call him. And so I make this phone call one day. At now, I think I'm 14, 15.
Oh, boy.
And this woman at William Morris picks up and I say, can I please have Jeff Witch's office? And somehow I get through to him. And I tell him the story. I'm like, hi, my name's Maggie Lawson. You gave me your card 3 years ago at a showcase in Louisville, Kentucky, and said if I ever came to LA to call you, you'd take a meeting with me. And he was like, okay, well, if I said I'd take a meeting, I'll take a meeting. When are you coming? And that sort of put the wheels in motion for, I didn't realize that was just a meeting. I didn't know what any of it meant. I just knew I had a lot of people around me telling me this was a really big deal. And so I was like, oh, I guess we should take this seriously. So we start making the plans to come out here. And while we were doing it, this is just a side part of the story that's very, very funny. My little brother reads this article about they're doing a Clueless TV series, and they were looking for Alicia Silverstone lookalikes.
Well,
my brother's like, Maggie, you got to go. Like, you're going to get this. You got to go. So we now have in our heads that I have to get to LA, or at least get myself somehow auditioning for this series, because we just didn't know any better. And I have this meeting, if I want it, with this guy at William Morris. And it was, I believe, my sophomore year spring break. Every single penny we had. And my mom and I came out, and I met him, and I met a guy in an elevator. I'll never forget it. And I'm forgetting his name, but he said he was a manager. I was with my mom. Probably creepy, but he put me in touch with this woman, Ro Diamond, who is an agent here. And I call Ro Diamond off this guy had already called her and said, this girl's going to call you. I think you should meet her. It was so bizarre, Michael, how all these things sort of happen.
Wow.
I meet Ro and she's like, I can't. Well, first I have my meeting with Jeff Witches, who is so sweet, but he's also just like, you're so green. I'm not going to take you on. Come back to me in a few years.
Did you mention the Clueless series to him?
Of course I did. Which, by the way, was already cast. So that wasn't even a possibility anymore. I'm coming into these rooms like, hi, I hear they're holding auditions. Where can I get my audition for this Clueless TV series? Anyway, I meet with Ro, who's a smaller agency. She sends me to read for a friend of hers, Fran Bascom, who is the casting director of Days of Our Lives, who has since passed. This woman calls Ro and says, the scenes went well, whatever. And Ro's like, I'll represent you if you want to come out. And Ro was my agent for 10 years. Wow. She actually got me a holding deal at Warner Brothers when they gave those out.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. They used to hand them out, give you some money and put you on hold.
Yeah,
we'll find you a project.
Like 30, I mean, I don't know if we can
say. They never find you anything.
Grand, which, by the way, just to give you a clue of where my family was, that was double what my parents made in a year. 30 grand. So we were literally losing our minds. Like, what is happening? Anyway, so with the holding deal, they put me in a show, in a pilot. And meanwhile, I'm going back and forth between Louisville and LA and trying to do schoolwork or whatever. Anyway, and I do this pilot that they told me was sold for 13 on the air. So my family makes this huge decision to come to Los Angeles, only to have us learn when we got here, they decided to not go forward with the show. So now we're in LA.
You moved out to LA to do a show that got canceled before you started filming it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there were other things at play. Like, luckily during that time I got to do, during the back and forth time, so while I was in LA, I would read for other things. And I got to do like a guest spot on something here or there. I ended up doing this movie Pleasantville, which was like such an insane experience.
Wow.
For like 3 months.
That was a big movie.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was wild. Like I had no idea. It's so wild. I think back on the story now. Anyway, yeah, we literally packed up a Woody station wagon that was not even ours. It was my grandparents. We didn't own a car. And my brother and my mom and I drove to LA. Anyway, that's how we got here.
Inside of You is brought to you by HelloFresh. You're going to want to listen to this because at the end, I'm going to tell you about 12 free meals, including free shipping. So you might want to listen. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. You don't have to go shopping and, oh my gosh, was I supposed to get some celery? No. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. You don't need me to tell you that, Ryan.
Try HelloFresh's quick and easy meals, 15 to 20-minute dinners, breakfast on the go, and more easy options, perfect for your busy lifestyle.
Get better value, folks. HelloFresh is 28% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store, 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal without sacrificing the quality. And that source, by the way, is Zagat Dining Survey. So you know it's the truth. I love this stuff because, I feel like I'm still cooking, but I have everything right in front of me. I know it's healthy, and I feel like I'm doing something that's an accomplishment, and I can make a fresh meal right there. I feel like sometimes these other meals that are already together, you just throw in the microwave, it just doesn't seem like that's the health. And health is wealth, Ryan. Am I right?
Things that rhyme are true usually.
Things that rhyme are true. It's
Yep.
just, you're gonna love doing this. It's so easy. The recipe's right there. The instructions. I can do this. If you know me, which I think if you're listening to this podcast, you know me, you know that it's not easy. I don't follow instructions. This is easy. I can make a meal in about 30 minutes. Go to HelloFresh.com/12IOU and use code 12IOU for 12 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/12IOU and use code 12IOU for 12 free meals, including free shipping. How are you not doing this right now? It's free. Inside You is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp online therapy. You know, I've talked about this. Therapy means a lot to me, and it helps so many people around the world. And if you're just avoiding it, just listen for a second. In May's Mental Health Awareness Month and throughout June, Inside of You, my podcast, is proud to join the cause of destigmatizing therapy. If you are struggling, like so many people are, with relationships, or you're having difficulty sleeping or difficulty meeting your goals, that's me. You're feeling anxious or you're stressed, BetterHelp counselors can listen. They can listen and they can help you. It's just a fact. Talk to anybody who's had therapy. I guarantee you they're going to say they're better because of it. BetterHelp will assess your needs, match you with your own licensed professional. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. And therapists have a broad range of expertise that may not be locally available in your area, but the service is available for clients worldwide. You could text your therapist. You can call your therapist. You could FaceTime or whatever your therapist. You could look at them. You could hear them. You could see. It's so easy, and they can make it as comfortable as you want it to be. And therapy is what you make of it. It's what you want it to be. It's different for each person. If you just got a lot on your mind, a lot of stuff bottled up, therapy could be a wonderful, wonderful thing for you. I know it's been a wonderful thing for me. All you do is log into your account anytime. You send a message to your counselor. You can schedule weekly video, phone, or even live chat sessions, like I said. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if you need. If you don't like someone, which happens sometimes, boom, you get someone else. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. Boy, is it less expensive than offline. I have spent so much money on that, and BetterHelp is significantly cheaper. So many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. Our listeners get 10% off their first month of online therapy at BetterHelp.com/inside. That's BetterHelp.com/inside. BetterHelp online therapy. Were you a star now in Louisville to the people in your high school, to people around you? Like, she's in LA. She's got a show. Did you embellish it? Come on.
No, I don't think so. There was this part of me that was almost like a little shy about it. Like, I wanted to just go home. Like, I would go back and forth. I mean, through my senior year, I got to graduate with my senior class in Louisville by doing correspondence. And so when I went home, I wanted to just be like, I almost didn't want to talk about that all the time, even though it was the topic. It was like, no, I just want to go to the game, or, see my boyfriend, or, whatever. So it was weird. I was really, really shy about it at first.
So the show doesn't get picked up, and you decide, which is crazy. You decide to stay.
We did. Yeah. Yeah. My younger brother was in high school, and he found a school out here. And
wait, your whole family moved from Louisville for you to Los Angeles?
Pretty much.
What? How much? I mean, to me, it was
a family decision.
That's a lot of pressure, though. That's a lot of pressure. If you don't succeed, Dad doesn't have the $30,000 job, $15,000 job.
There was no safety net. There was no safety net.
Oh my God, they went all out for you. That is love, sweetie.
It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot on us. It was a lot of really. I remember the conversations being like, so yeah, it was a lot of love. But also, I think in a way, I think all of us were looking toward a better life. And I don't even want to say that it was so bad in Louisville. It was just that there was this opportunity.
There was an excitement.
And we had struggled a lot, and we'd been through a lot at that point, as a family. And my mom working, 3 jobs just to keep us in our house. And, we were on and off food stamps for a bit. Like, it was a time. And so there was this, Yeah.
Well, what did your dad do?
My parents were divorced at that point,
Right.
and he stayed in Louisville.
He stayed in
was
Louisville.
in Louisville. Yeah.
Oh man.
So that was the other thing that, we were all, it is just so wild to think about all of that now, and how many people helped us along the way, and how many, like, I think about Roe now, I think about this holding deal from Warner Brothers now, I think about just everything that aligned for all of us to be here. It's really nuts.
Kind of a miracle.
It is kind of a miracle.
The chances of survival in this sound like we're going to the Arctic. The chances of survival here in Hollywood.
It is like going into the Arctic. Also, my mom was like a single mom. She was like, I think I'm 40. I turned 40.
You look, by the way, not hitting on you. I'm just saying you look fantastic. I would have thought 32.
Oh, Michael.
No, you look great. Is that really good lighting? Because you do look great.
Oh God, thank you so much. I feel great. I feel great.
That's good. Was a divorce hard for you as a kid?
Yeah, divorce is awful. Divorce is awful.
Yeah, I went through it too. I went through a divorce. In fact, I've been through. My sister has been divorced 4 times. My dad's divorced twice. My mom's divorced. Anyway, I get that. But how old were you when they split up?
12.
Well, that's got to be incredibly hard.
Yeah, it was. It's really, really hard. Divorce is just really hard. I went through one myself a few years ago, and I think as a kid, there was a sort of pressure that maybe you want to be. I know for me, I kind of wanted to be everything to both of them. I wanted to help them. That was my feeling, was like, oh, I want to help, you heal, and I want to help you heal, and I want to, like, everybody's hurting, and this, it's just a really complicated, hard thing to go through. But also I think sometimes for the best, as hard as it is, it's not necessarily the unhappy ending. Always.
Yeah. Do you see signs as a 12-year-old? Because I saw signs when I was a kid, and I was like, these people should not be together. I knew that my parents shouldn't be together. So it didn't shock me. What shocked me is that they were together as long as they were. So was yours shocking, or was it dysfunctional?
Not shocking at all. I think I remember sort of thinking, like, I was surprised it hadn't happened yet, but I think there was, I remember they separated once when I was about 8, and I was so devastated that I don't have a ton of memory from it. I just remember, like, my brain exploded, and I remember just being so overwhelmed at that thought. And I actually think my reaction is one of the reasons that they were like, okay, we need to smooth this over for now.
You were so devastated that your parents probably got back together. That was probably the reason.
I was probably the reason that they were unhappy for 4 more years.
My God.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough, but they both supported your endeavors. They both supported you going out to Los Angeles. And
I think for the most part, they were both always, I always felt that support. I did plays from the time I was 8 years old. And that was always the one thing. And I'm so grateful. I look back on it now. I just think about it. It's so wild when I think about my mom being my age and having, like, teenage kids and making a decision to go to Hollywood with them. It's so wild. But there was this feeling that even in everything my family went through and the struggles that we had, that we could still do anything, like dream big. And so I for that, I'm just incredibly grateful. Like, nothing was off limits. It's sort of that same thing.
Yeah. Did they talk still? Were they friends? Did they talk?
No.
Nothing. Yeah, mine don't either. In fact, I always have this fear at my wedding. I'd have to have 2 different weddings because it'd be so uncomfortable to have them both in the same room. And I really have, my therapist is like, why are you talking? You're not even you're not even a committed relationship, let alone married. And you're fucking worried about your wedding and your parents being there. This is anxiety out the ass.
I was just about to say, Michael.
I know.
That's next level anxiety. I have it too, though. I think about things like that all the time. And it's like, oh my God, wait, this isn't even a real scenario. Do
people think, because I think, when I get married, it's going to be forever and I'm not going to meet someone that I'm not going to be in love with. And then is this how you felt? Obviously you got divorced, but like most people do get divorced. A lot of people, it's not like the 40s where everybody stays together because society says you should. Did you feel like this is forever? Is that how you feel when you get married?
Yeah.
It's amazing how things just can turn around so quickly, though.
Yeah, it is.
And how do you do that? What is it? Certain things you just see as you go and you go, wow, I was wrong. This wasn't as right. Maybe I had blinders on. Whatever it is, what is it?
I kind of wish I knew. I guess maybe there are. In hindsight, always, I think we can connect some dots that maybe we didn't want to. And I'm not just speaking about in marriage. I would enter any relationship hoping that it's forever, right?
Yeah, sure.
So it's not even just in the marriage. It's sort of, and I think that is probably just a part of our situation happened very fast. But I think in the getting to know process that, we all have, I don't know. I think we discover you peel back layers and we show our,
true
all
colors.
of our sides, I guess. And I don't know. I think you just have to hope that wherever that person is on their journey and the tools they have in their toolbox, that you can sync up with where you are in your journey and the tools you have in your toolbox.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily anybody's, I don't know. It's sort of, I don't know if that totally makes sense, but like we are just sort of where we are and we just keep growing. And I think in the growth, maybe that's where it can get a little tricky.
This is very educational for me because, I always think about, will I ever get married? And then, I jump ahead. I'm like, well, I gotta, if someone isn't, if I marry someone who doesn't have anything, which is fine. I've dated a lot of women who either don't have it together or have it together. It's not one of us has it together. I never have it together. But financially, you might say, how do you ask for a prenup? And then I think, here's how I would do it. I would say to the person, I think we should sign a prenup. What do you mean? So no, this is because it's not that I'm worried about me falling out of love with you, but what if you fall out of love with me? Yeah. And that's more likely to happen.
That's funny. I mean, look, I also think at this point, we're not babies. We're not like,
No.
So and we've both, so you've been divorced.
No, I haven't. I haven't been married or anything.
You do have a lot of anxiety.
I do. My foot's shaking as I talk about this.
I just think, there are realistic and honest conversations that sometimes are not so romantic, but that need to be had. And I see I understand what you're saying. It's sort of like not putting some weird stamp on the way you think things are going to go, but it's kind of like, I don't know, wanting to protect yourself. I guess it would be removing some anxiety. It's sort of like that we do these things, right? We all
to protect ourselves,
to make us feel safe.
Yeah.
And it really has not a lot to do. Sometimes it does maybe with the other person, but I feel like sometimes it doesn't. It mostly doesn't actually have to do with the other person, anything they've done or whatever. It's sort of our.
Well, think about this. I've worked my whole life for what I have. Now, for whatever that is, I don't think it's really asking that much for someone to say, hey, if this doesn't work out, which a lot of marriages don't work out. So if it doesn't, I don't want to lose everything that I've worked so hard for my whole life because you've decided to go cheat or you've decided to go you fell out of love with me, or my farts are just enough for you.
Mm. It's so awful. It's so heartbreaking, but I understand what you're saying. And it's true. I don't know how you grew up, but like, I'm with you. I didn't grow up with a safety net. I didn't grow up with there's some trust fund or some other thing back there that I can lean on or whatever, that, it's just me and what I provide for myself. And the threat of losing that is that's a lot. That's everything in a lot of ways. Like, it's sort of I'm not saying on a material level, but just on this sort of emotional, you've worked your whole life and you've built a certain life for yourself. And so I understand that feeling.
Was your mom the first person you went to when you were like, it's over?
Oh, I think so. No, actually, I don't think so. I think I went to my friends. I have like these like friends were like sisters. My friend Brooke and Rebecca, I think I told first, and I remember I saw. Oh no, I take that back. The first person I told was my little brother.
And how did he respond?
Also a great person in a crisis. Very, very, very calm and protective. It's funny. He's my younger brother, but I think he's always had a bit more of the like older brother protective thing. We're 13 months apart. We were raised basically like twins. So, he was my first phone call. I remember.
Marriage feels like it's something that no matter whose fault it was or whatever, you probably feel like a bit of a failure, right?
Totally.
And it's like, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you bounce back? I mean, you're resilient.
I don't know. I think everybody's, again, have their own experiences and their own journey. I think for me, it made me look at myself like hard and be like, I've been very, what should I say? Like tiptoe or timid. I feel like I have been very careful and maybe a bit more like, take your time, check in with you, make sure you're not missing anything, like in entering into other relationships or whatever. Since it just made me really look at myself. It's interesting. I was in a relationship pretty much from the time I was about 22 until the time I was 36. It was like I had this one relationship in my early 20s. I had a long relationship with Roday, who you know.
Yep.
And then I went into this relationship that I got married. So the last, 4 years, have actually been the first like time that I think I've really been just with me.
Wow. How great is that? That's a blessing that in a way that it happened. You're young. You're still very young. I mean, you have at least 60 years left. You'll live to 100. Queen Elizabeth is. But like, honestly, don't you feel like in a way you're like, hey, I'm glad this happened now so I could find my forever, or maybe if there is a forever, but you took the time, all that pain and all that hurt and all those things of the introspectiveness. Is that the right word?
I like the word. I like it. Introspectiveness. That's 5-syllable word.
I think it's a word. But that probably was unbelievably healthy. It wasn't in the moment it happened and all this shit was going on, but after you got through it, you probably thought, oh my God, this was really fucking great for me.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I ever really stopped. I worked and between working and between being in relationships for my whole life, it was a time to focus on me, which I think in a way was what I was being called to do anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I hope in for every party involved, it's good, and that there is some sort of this was
a learning experience.
I see why this had to happen, or right. Whatever. I wish all of it well and everything, but have been really grateful to have this time over the last few years. And honestly, in this pandemic, which is probably very weird to say because it's been such a horrible time, to sort of pause and maybe look at stuff that I
enlightening. It's tough to be alone. It's tough to be, I mean, you're someone who's been in relationships most of your life, and I've been single a long time. I mean, I've been in relationships, but the pandemic, as much as, it's been terrible for so many people, and so really bad. Obviously, I say that earnestly, but for me, it's really been a time like, oh, Tom and Deneen can't come over and hang out with me. Oh, Rob, so it's just, it's a tough time, but like being alone has helped me deal with my anxiety, deal with a lot of these things that have been weighing on me for a long time. And so it's been good in a bad in a good way and good in a bad way. But
I have had the exact same experience. I mean, having to really maybe deal with some things that I've been working, and I don't need to deal with that. And I don't need to deal with that. And it's just, I feel like I went into like a forced, like, oh yeah, okay, we got to look at some stuff now and deal with it. Cleaned out a storage unit I had for 15 for years and years and years and years.
Why did you keep a storage facility? You're probably paying $200 a month for that thing. Really? Wait. That's a lot. You're spending a lot of money on storage. Why? I mean, in most of that shit you probably forgot about. Am I right?
Yeah, I think most of that shit I didn't want to deal with or look at. It was like 15 years of life. I mean, the storage unit was like the size of a small apartment in New York. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
And I've been living in a building for the last few years, or had been. And when lockdown happened, it felt crazy. It's a really fun building, but it was just not safe, and I'm completely paranoid. And I was like, all right, so I Airbnb'd for a bit. I've moved like 4 times during this last year, but this isn't my house, it's someone else's house I'm renting. But yeah, I was like, why do I still have this thing? And I hired this like really safe company to kind of help me go through it. But it was kind of that was like a symbolic. I feel like I was like, okay, I've had a lot of shit in here. I've had a lot of shit.
Away with the old, on with the new.
New beginnings.
Inside of You is sponsored by Charlie Bear of Got Pet Products. This is an amazing product that my dog Blanche just dies for, and that's all she's going to eat right now. She's stubborn. Once you have the best, your dog deserves the best. If you're making yourself nice meals or you're giving yourself nice hearty treats, Ryan, don't you think your dog deserves the same kind of love?
Yeah, I agree.
I would hope so. You shouldn't have a dog if you don't feel that way. That's how I feel. The family behind Charlie Bear is also behind a human ingredient company that has been bringing expertise, creative imagination, and a passion for food to people for more than a century. Charlie Bear treats are wonderful. Their Hound Gatos food is wonderful. Charlie Bear has natural dog treats. They're from our family to your best friend. They're made in the USA. Simple ingredients, natural ingredients, low calorie. I think they only have like 3 calories in these treats. Pocket friendly, so they don't crumble in your pocket, because you want to give your dog and have them on hand at all times, so you have them in your pocket. And these other treats, 3 months later, you still have crumbs in your freaking pockets, Ryan. This is the best product out there, I believe. You're going to get high-end dog treats with Charlie Bear, and the Hound Gatos food is just to die for. Look for Charlie Bear products at your favorite neighborhood pet stores and online, or visit our website at www.charliebear.com. That's Charlie, CharlieBear. www.charliebear.com for more information. Shout out to my big brother, Adam, who works for the company, and it's such an amazing company, and all the guys that work there. Thank you for being a sponsor on the show. Blanche loves this food, and I think everybody else who gives it a shot is going to fall in love with it, and I hope you guys give it a shot. Just go to www.charliebear.com, and you can also go to www.houndgatos, HOUNDGATOS.com to get that wonderful food that you see Blanche eating. Inside of You is brought to you by GEICO. GEICO. I mean, it speaks for itself. I mean, you guys, you know how lazy I can be. I don't want to go out and get my auto policy from someplace and my homeowners or renters insurance from another place. I want to get them all at one place, and I want to get them at one place that I know I can trust, that everyone knows about, and that is GEICO. GEICO makes it easy. They're bundling policies to bundle your homeowners or your renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing because we're so freaking busy with our lives, doing our things, and we've got to make things easier on ourselves so we can enjoy life more. And GEICO, thank you for that. Go to GEICO, folks. Go to GEICO, GEICO, geico.com, and just get a quote. It's so easy, and you can see how much you could save. It's GEICO easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. Inside of You is brought to you by 10,000. Look, when I'm working out, if you guys are trying to train, if you're trying to run, if you're trying to lift, if you're trying to change your life for the good, you need to be comfortable. And 10,000 have these 7-inch interval shorts. They have this liner that prevents chafing. It's tons of features like the silver ion for odor protection, breathable, lightweight shell fabrics with stretch, optional liner, extremely comfortable. I feel like I'm not wearing anything. I almost feel naked in these, to tell you the truth there, Ryan. They got perfect summer shirts, lightweight, breathable, quick drying. This is exactly what you need to get in shape for the summer, to wear during your workouts. 10,000 makes the highest quality, best fitting, and most comfortable training shorts I have ever worn.
At the core of 10,000 are 3 core training shorts built for all the ways you train.
The interval short, versatile and great for HIIT, spinning, Metcons, short runs, and anything else you can think of.
The foundation short, built for durability for tough gym days and outdoor adventures.
The session short, super lightweight, perfect for running, yoga, and mobility. They've got exactly what you need. 10,000 is a direct-to-consumer company, no middleman, so you get a premium fabric, trims, and techniques that other brands simply cannot afford. Collaborative product development, a team of over 200 athletes tests their gear to ensure the perfect design, fabric, trims, and fit. Pick the short that is best for your training and then personalize it with custom liner and inseam options. Over 9,500 5-star reviews. Free shipping and returns and lifetime guarantee. That's a confident company. 10,000 is offering our listeners 15% off your first purchase. Go to 10,000, that's spelled out, 10,000.cc, and enter code INSIDE to receive 15% off your first purchase. That's 10,000.cc and enter code INSIDE. Like, you seem like, you tell me a lot of these things, but you seem really together. Like, I see that mom-like figure back in high school where you're driving your friends around and you're doing this. And maybe that's sort of like, what I gather, I'm not a therapist, and boy, I need one more than ever, but I have one. He's great. She's great. I have 2. But do you think maybe your whole life that you've almost been that maternal figure in a lot of ways to so many different people and been the strength that no one's really been the strength for you, and you've never really collapsed into someone's arms and really been vulnerable in a way that, because I feel like in a lot of ways I'm always helping everybody else. And then it's me who's kind of like drained. It's me who's kind of like, hurting at times. And I'm like, fuck, man, everybody thinks I'm just happy as a clam all the time. And I'm the light of the party and whatever. And do you get like that? Do you feel like that?
Yeah. I mean, you talk about like smiling, happy, like life of the party. I think that is something I know for me over time that I feel has become like, there's this expectation that I show up that way, which at this point in my life, I'm sure as I was younger or whatever, I just got a lot of positive feedback for being happy and smiley and nice to everybody and, pleasy or whatever. But, now I'm really, really working. I'm trying to drop that. Because I think what I'm realizing as I get older, yes, that feeling of sort of wanting to be strong and be there for other people. So I keep it together. I still have that, like, maybe this responsibility feeling almost of like, I can be the safety net that we didn't have. I can be but we're all adults. That's a lot of that is like left over, and I can drop it. It's just sort of me getting used to not thinking that way. But it's really hard for me because I feel an expectation, or maybe I've made it up in my head that I come off a certain way. I need to be a certain way to maybe be accepted or whatever. That's just the way I'm expected to show up. That it almost sometimes is like, unless I can show up that way, I'm not going. Instead of just showing up where I am. So that's my shit that I have to drop, because nobody's asking that of me.
Right.
And the people of my life, now, but I think it's part of the reason. Like, I have a ton of social media anxiety. I have a lot, just like even I talked about sharing my life or talking. And I think a lot of it kind of comes from that.
Yeah, I asked James Roday. I text Dulé and Roday. That rhymed. Dulé and Roday. Dulé and Roday. So I just said, hey, anything I should say to Maggie? I'm interviewing her. She goes, no, just have fun. She probably won't get too deep or personal. Not really her jam, but she's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's what you just said. So he knows you. And then Dulé says, just seeing this, tell her I love her, I miss her, and I can't wait for us to all suck it again.
Wow.
So there was that.
Yeah, I miss that.
I think he was talking about the acting thing. Let's just suck it again. Let's rock this shit.
We say that it's a thing on Psych.
Oh, it is?
Suck it. Yeah.
Oh, I should know that.
Suck it again. But Roday knows me really well. Sorry, was that me looking like I'm tough or something?
No, do it again. Say the suck it line.
No, I'm not doing it again. Suck it. No, that was just that was an off the cuff one time thing that I cannot.
I love that. It's so cute though.
No.
But your anxiety.
I love that Roday said that. Wait, did you reach out to Tim? Tim would have.
Omenson, I should have done that. Tim is a magnificent guy. And boy, did you listen to the podcast with us? It was really, if you guys haven't listened to Timothy Omenson, just an amazing man, amazing story, amazing actor. You should go back and listen to that. He talks about how he had a stroke and talk about how he's a very brave man, but also just really let go and was so pure and honest, and it was beautiful. It really was.
Yeah,
so.
That was really good.
You
were so great with him.
Well, you know what? It's easy when people like yourself. You're easy to talk to. We learn a lot from this. I'm very interested in this. Like you're
very good at it.
Well, thank you. I love doing it. So I appreciate that. So thank you, Maggie. What do you do? Do you deal with anxiety? How do you deal with anxiety? And what kind of anxiety do you get? What gives you anxiety?
Oh, everything.
This podcast gave you anxiety.
Totally. I turn down podcasts, just so you know. I don't do them. I've had people reach out. It is a big deal. And so I get very nervous about it. So I sometimes am, but I wanted to do this. And I've known you I haven't seen you in a long, 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 long time, but I've known you for so long, and I've listened to your podcast, and this was, to be honest with you, a little bit of a, just do it, Maggie. Step into it, Maggie. You can do this.
I'm so glad you did. Just
so you know, it is really hard for me to talk about myself or to sort of reveal these things. But how do I deal with anxiety? I think this pandemic has really helped me. I paint. I'm actually in my, I paint. But you mean just I don't take anything. I haven't gone.
Good for you. Painting gets you, it's an escape for you.
A complete and total escape. I have, years ago, a friend of mine came to stay with me for a few days, and as her parting gift when she left me this set of acrylic paints and some brushes and a canvas. And I haven't stopped. I just love painting, but I don't share it. It's just for me. It's something I kind of do for love. I'm getting a little better at it now, but
see, that's great that you do that. I was having art nights at my house because the worst thing in the world, I'm the worst at art. There's no question about it. I can't draw. I can't paint. I can't. And so I said, then this is, my therapist said, then this is perfect for you. It's so you don't have to be great. You go in not knowing you're not going to be great, and you just enjoy it and let go.
That sounds so fun to me.
I'll invite you when this thing's over.
I would love it. Yeah, I'm getting more comfortable sort of sharing it, but it really was like a really private. It was almost like writing in a journal for me. But it became that. And I also started taking like voice lessons because I sing. Yeah, I sing. I sang my whole life. This is another one of those things, like stage fright things that happened to me later in life. So it's something I do myself. I play a little guitar. I sing. But I have really kept it to myself. I know you're in a band.
Yeah, we got to jam. We got to paint.
And the thing about these voice lessons has been really interesting. It's almost been therapeutic beyond just like getting me singing again. It's sort of, he always says, you know, you're not open. Like, we're trying to open your voice. We're trying to get your voice back. So I have been taking these like voice lessons, and I've been painting, and a lot of this has really, really helped to, I don't know, maybe it's just a feeling that I'm working on something, or I don't know, but it has helped me sort of channel a lot of that anxiety that I have.
Well, I love this. I love this. Is that a painting behind you that you did?
Oh, this is not mine. This is a painting Bob Dylan did.
Okay, I was like,
actually a gift from Roday.
Let me see it. Is it right behind you?
Should I bring it to you?
Yeah, bring it over. Let's see. This is a gift from James Roday Rodriguez, correct?
Let's see if I can get it down.
Oh shit, no, she's gonna break some. Oh my god, that look behind you. That almost fell.
What's it?
That white thing.
It's fine, it's paint.
Bob Dylan painted that, and he gave
see it.
Yeah, I can. I see it right now.
Here, yeah, there you go.
I see it perfectly.
Yeah, it's a sidewalk cafe in New York.
That's great.
And when I bought this house years ago, not this, but a house I lived in years ago, and I fell in love with this painting. I saw it in London, and I didn't buy it, but I had told Roday about it, and then it arrived.
Did you cry?
Yeah.
That's a nice. See, that's sweet.
It's a good gift. Good gift.
I mean, so when you're on set, do you ever get anxiety with like lines and things like that, and like I have to be good, or you get, you know, or that's something you've been doing for so long that it probably doesn't affect you? Like, that's your world.
It depends. I mean, it obviously depends on the scene, but no, I feel like that is where my anxiety leaves a little bit.
Wow.
It's weird. That feels like, I don't know, like comfort or something, work. I mean, obviously depending on the scene or what we're getting into, but like, yeah, I love working so much that just it's almost like a comfort zone.
Wow. Yeah, I think I've always, with work and everything, I associate it with anxiety. I have to be anxious. I have to be so disciplined. I have to be great, that it's just like it drives me crazy to the point where I work so hard that's what happens. So I really would like to eventually let that go more and just try to enjoy it more. Like I'm trying to enjoy, like I like enjoying these podcasts, like being able to put these headphones on and just talk to someone and enjoy it and not think about, and all these other external things that I can't control. It's always about things you can't control that give you anxiety, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is great. You're very good at this.
Are you saying I should quit acting?
No. You're a great actor as well.
What are you saying?
You've worked forever.
Well, I don't know about that. All right, this is called Shit Talking with Maggie Lawson. This is from my patrons. You could join Patreon at patreon.com/inside. It's a wonderful family. Leanne wants to ask you, how did you begin your work in animal advocacy?
How did I begin it? I met Jude. Well, my gosh, it goes back to when I was 16. I volunteered at the Humane Society, even as a kid. But I met Jude, my partner in my foundation, in 2014. We both shared this dream of having a sort of animal, I guess, a rescue, but more animal healing, animal therapy. And we had so many things anyway. And we just did it. We just started doing it. I mean, there's a lot more to that story of how it sort of came to be what it is now. But yeah.
You could find that on Margaret's blog on Wednesdays. No, it's not true. Jason B., was Psych really as fun to shoot as it seems from the outtakes and behind the scenes stories? Really?
And more. It was that fun and more. It was the best, the greatest experience. We had so much fun on and off screen. We partied, we played, we love each other. It's good. We're not overstating how wonderful of an experience it is. If anything, we couldn't possibly put into words how wonderful.
I could never say that about anything I've done. Although I've loved everything and it's been amazing. What you just said is like an anomaly to just absolutely, oh my God, it's like we're all like loving. I mean, that's seldom. Jane O., what was the most useful thing you learned while working on Psych?
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Useful thing. Probably for what I do, it would be learning lines quickly, or that's a really tough question. I learned to run on heels. But yeah, I would say it's sort of thinking on the fly. Roday was always improving. There was always like line changes that were happening quickly. So I think it just kept us on our toes. And yeah, I can memorize and absorb faster because of it.
Wow.
That's not the greatest answer.
Actually, that is, because that's
so many useful things, but
that's pretty useful. The fact that, that's very useful when you're always on your toes and things are always changing. That would drive me crazy that things are changing so much. I like to improvise and things, but I don't know. When you're on a set like that, it seems like it warrants that whole feel. Like it just makes sense. It just is a fun, let's try this, let's try that. But Lisa H., what was it like acting with Jason Priestley on True Calling? Your episode was definitely a little different than others. Such a great concept for a show.
It was actually a really great concept for a show. I love Jason Priestley. I haven't seen him in so long. Oh man, I have known him from, it was like True Calling. Then I run into him places. Then he did Psych. And we still like through social media have like supported each other or whatever, but I loved it. I didn't do, I feel like that was one of the only dramas like I had done at that point in my career. There weren't that many. And he was so great. So great. I just love him. He was a hoot. We got along great.
Josh A., what was your experience working with Ashton Kutcher on 2.5 Men and then again on The Ranch?
Awesome. Ashton was so great. He is like super professional, but also like he was so fun and so welcoming. And I felt, I don't know, that was a crew. Like that was a bit of a crew, and I felt very welcomed into it. It was really, really nice.
Bob K., what superhero role would you enjoy taking on?
Superwoman.
Superwoman? Supergirl. There should
Wonder
be
Woman.
But Wonder Woman. Why can't there be Superwoman?
I don't know why I just went to Superwoman. Who's Superwoman?
Isn't it degrading though? Why you think in this time it's Supergirl? Why can't it be Superwoman now? They've never had a Superwoman.
I think that's what was happening. No, Wonder Woman. What the hell?
Superwoman. Is it tough? Because I've had this happen to me, and I ask, when a series like Outmatch with Jason Biggs, when it gets canceled, were you guys really disappointed? Did that bother you? Or
it is a heartbreak that it's weird. I've had shows get canceled and it's like, I could see that coming, or we were done. I'm still not over it. In fact, Jason and I were just texting yesterday. It was such it had the same feeling of like the way I think Psych felt in the beginning of like lightning striking and everything worked. So it was like, okay, this is the first time I've had that feeling again of like every single thing here works. I love him. Do you know Jason?
I've met him a couple of times. He's really sweet.
I just love him so much. I loved everybody on the show so much. And yeah, that was a news we got, I guess like last May. That was very shocking. That was not what we expected to hear. So I'm still healing from that.
Yeah. You were on Smallville.
I was a long time ago. We didn't have any scenes.
No, we didn't have any scenes. What episode was it? Do you remember?
No, I just remember my character. I would kiss boys and through kissing them, suck the youth out of them so that I could stay young and they would age and die. And yeah, so it was great. Great character.
You worked with Tom, right?
Yeah, I worked with Tom. I had such a good time on that. I had such a good time. I had to do this whole prosthetic thing because I had to age. In the end, I had to age and die. And I'm claustrophobic. That was one of my first experiences with something like that. It was really, really, really intense. I remember that. It was so fun though. That show was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a long show. We had a long run. It was a good run.
Good run.
Maggie, this has been awesome. I really, I cherish this time I had with you, and I hope we keep in touch.
Yes, we will. We absolutely will. Your art parties.
Yes, art parties, and I wish you the very best. And where can people find you on social?
Oh, my Instagram that I'm trying to get better at using, Mags Laws Lawson, and my Twitter is my name.
All right, Maggie Lawson.
That's it. That's all I have. Is that what
yeah. Follow her. She's incredible. I know you've probably seen Psych if you haven't even seen the show. Plus, she's done tons of other shit. Pleasantville, Smallville. This has been great. Thank you again. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. This has honestly been great.
Great. Thank you.
All right.
I'm glad. Okay.
Wow.
Bye.
I really enjoyed that episode. I enjoy the episodes because I don't listen to them.
I could do whatever I want with them.
You can do whatever you want with them.
Is what you're telling me.
Right. But then, on the days that we're recording, I listen to some stuff. And again, like I said in the beginning, she's just a likable person, and she really opened up. So if you guys really like the podcast, I encourage you to subscribe. Again, you can go to YouTube and go type in Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum and subscribe to the podcast. That would be great. And also, the handles are at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, at Inside of You Pod on the Twitter. I'm on Instagram, the Michael Rosenbaum. You can get great stuff at the Inside of You merch store. Like I said, just go to the Inside of You online store or the Sunspin, where you can get my band stuff. You can get the CD signed. We got vinyls coming, t-shirts, hats, lunch boxes, a bunch of great stuff. And thank you, everybody, for coming to the last Stage It to watch my band. I really appreciate that. I love playing music for you guys, and I love doing this podcast. So thank you, Cumulus. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Bryce. It's been a real treat. And my patrons, those patrons who give back to the podcast, they don't even need to. Just subscribing is enough, but they give a little more by going to patreon.com/inside of becoming a patron. And there's all sorts of tiers and behind the scenes and Q&As, and you get to ask me questions and the guest questions, and you get merch, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you for that. Right now, we're going to get right into it, and we're going to shout the names out, Ryan.
Let's do it.
Let's shout the names out to all the top patrons. These are the top patrons that give the most, and they are very loved and very, I'm very appreciative of them, Ryan. Let's see if Ryan remembers any of these. Nancy.
D.
Mary.
B.
Leah.
F.
Trisha.
What? F.
Sarah.
S.
V.
V.
Little Lisa. Yukiko. Jill.
E.
Brian.
H.
Lauren.
G.
Nico.
P.
Robin.
S.
Jerry.
W.
Robert B. Jason W. Apothean. Kristen K. Amelia O. Allison O. L. Lucas M. Raj C. We got Joshua D. We got Emily S. CJP. Samantha M. Jennifer N. Jackie P. Stacy L. Carly H. Carly S. Jen S. Jamal F. Janelle B. Tabitha 272, not to be confused with
Tabitha 273.
Ashley Ryan, Kimberly E. Mike E. Eldon Supremo, Dan 99 more, Ramira, Santiago M. Sarah F. Chad W. Leanne P. Ray A. Maya P. Maddie S. Kendrick F. Ashley E. Shannon D. Matt W. Belinda
Carlisle.
No. N. Belinda N. James R. Chris H. Dave H. Samantha S. Spider-Man Chase Sheila
Easton.
Sheila G.
I know it's G.
I know you do. Ray H, Tabitha T, Tom N, Suzanne B, Liliana A, Michelle K, Marcus W, Hannah B, Michael S, Talia M, Andrew T, Betsy D, Claire M, Liz J, Laura L, Chad L, Rochelle or Rachel, Nathan E, and here's the last of them: Taylor K, Marion, Meg K, Janelle P, Trav L, Dan L, Diane R, Ojeda, Lorraine G, Corey M, Veronica K, Stevie. Big Stevie W, Kendall T, Carol D, Sandy M, Angel M, Eric C, Rhiannon C, Stephen M, Corey K, Super Sam, Emily C, Sherry S, Coleman G, David C, Michelle A, Matt W, Liz L, Jeremy C, Andy T, and Chris E. Those are the wonderful, lovely Patreons. Thank you for being my top tier patrons. Thank you for listening to the show today. We've got great shows coming up. We really sincerely do. A lot in the can, and a lot of really good information. A lot of people opening up about their darkest stuff. And, I like that. So thank you, Bryce, Ryan.
Yeah.
For myself, Michael Rosenbaum, you're in the Hollywood Hills of California.
California. Myself, Ryan Taylor's over here in the Hollywood, California.
We'll wave to the camera up there. Right up there. How are you? And you guys, thank you so much. Just please be good to yourselves. Learn to appreciate yourselves, like yourselves, and be good to others. And thank you for allowing me to be inside each and every one of you. So, all right, I really appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. Damn it.